Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Friend. Let's talk about it. I'm your girl Shauna Marie, and today we have family here with us. Today we have my cousin Diane. Say hey, Diane.
Hey, hey, hey.
So yes, how are you feeling today?
No complaints. I feel wonderful. It's Saturday, so I got to sleep in a little bit. So I feel pretty good. And I'm here with you too. So I'm excited to be here.
Stop. Well, I appreciate you being here and coming on and talking with us. Today we're going to talk about, when that clock is loud, but you don't hear anything from God. And I feel like that can be whether it's relational, finances, it could be in many ways, shapes, and forms. But as I was growing up and getting to know you, I know that's something that you experienced, and I'm so glad that you're here to tell us a little bit about it. I want you to tell everybody who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go ahead and dive in.
Well, my name is Miss DJ, Diane. So I
Right.
recently got married about a year and a half ago. So I am Diane Johnson. I grew up in the church. I knew of God, but I didn't know him until the age of 21, 20. I started seeking him for myself and growing my relationship with him. And of course, during that time, when I gave my life to Christ, listen, the journey was not a walk in the park, So it's been a journey, and I will be 40 next year. I know I don't look it.
And don't, it's a dream.
But so I've been on a journey for a while, and there have been many times where I've had waited for God to come through for me, and I felt like he wasn't listening and I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Okay. So you kind of mentioned it already. You said you were waiting for God, but you felt like he wasn't listening. So what do you feel like it was that you were waiting for? Like, what were you asking him for and he wasn't listening? Or you
I
feel
mean
like he wasn't listening?
so many things. Like, again, when I first gave, I feel like when we come to Christ, there's an excitement, like initially when we decide that we want to live for him, and we're like, okay, God, I surrender. We don't know what's ahead. We don't know nothing. All we know is we want to serve God. We're making the decision to give our lives to him. And when I did that, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know, or I knew what I was doing as far as, I'm gonna receive salvation, and uh, this is my personal decision, and I'm sure of it. I know this is what I want to do, but I didn't know what that would look like as far as, the calling that he had on my life, or the struggles, the attacks from the enemy. And I didn't know nothing about that. I was just
Yeah.
ready to live for Jesus. I didn't know what was ahead, but I there on the journey, there were some things that I would pray for. So I didn't know there were some things in my life that I needed to get rid of. There were some areas in my life where, I struggled, but I didn't realize if I was struggling in different areas until I began to build my relationship with the Lord. And so he, little by little, he'll highlight something. He'll shine the light on something like, oh, Diane, the way you talk to people, that's not okay. But I didn't realize it until he made me aware of it. And he's so kind. I'm going somewhere with this, okay?
No, no,
But
no, you're good.
he's so kind that um he doesn't expose all of our shortcomings at one
Uh-huh.
time. He does it little by little, and I appreciate him for that. So while he was revealing the things that was in my heart to me, I began to get a little discouraged, because I'm like, okay, how do I get rid of this thing, or how do I move forward from this? And I felt like God wasn't answering when I thought he should. Or I'm like, okay, if you're revealing this thing to me, like, why don't you just remove it? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, why don't you just remove it? But I learned that he was making me and strengthening me and teaching me discipline, patience, trust. Like that's the word right there, trust. He wanted me, he was building my faith and my trust in him. So again, on this was in the beginning of the journey. So I'm like, okay, God, there's some things that you're showing me. Let me work on those things. So I begin to work. Okay, then I mean, I was in different relationships because I desired to be married. And I'm like, well, Lord, I'm believing you for this. I told you that I wanted to be married. So I'm talking to this person, like, okay, yeah, this must be the one. Because before I met him, I prayed a prayer and I
Mhm.
said, Lord, the next person I meet, let that be my husband. Listen, we got to be careful with that.
We do.
We got to be careful with that because the enemy, he watches, he goes around with like a roaring lion, right, seeing who he can devour. So we have to be careful. To We got to know that it's God and not,
Yeah.
the enemy, because he comes dressed what in sheep
Yeah.
clothing.
Yeah.
Like he,
They usually say the counterfeit comes first. So the enemy hears you. He knows exactly what you want and will bring that counterfeit. So you may think like, oh, this is it. But God also said, you will know my people by their fruits. And a lot of times when we're dating these people, even though we may want it to be our person, them fruits don't be on point. They be a little off and we be ignoring.
uh, the fruit always.
That will reveal a person immediately.
Definitely will. That
Yeah.
definitely will. So just going back to me asking God to take those the things that he revealed, like the attitude, the wrong thinking, the jealousy, um the unforgiveness,
He was
Lord, all,
persecuting your husband the whole time.
honey, honey, and still is, because
Yeah.
he's still revealing stuff. I'm like, oh Lord, but
All right.
so I felt like there's a destination, there's a place. God had me ministering to people with all of this stuff in me, and I'm like, well, Lord, can you? I feel like I'm trying to move forward, but I'm still thinking about these things that I'm struggling with. But the Lord was still using me because He was showing me, like, Diane, you're not gonna be perfect ever. You're not gonna ever be perfect. But you just gotta trust me. You just gotta keep moving forward and trust me. So as I continue to move forward, he continued to reveal things. And then I started thinking more about marriage. Like it came, I always thought about marriage. I've always wanted to be married since I was a little girl. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, there are no successful marriages. I don't see them. So I don't even want it. That, like, that's how I felt. And
Yeah.
she said to me, "Don't you ever say that again." And when she said that, that shifted my whole that her saying that just shifted everything. And so the desire for marriage had been on my heart for the longest time. And so I get saved, and I'm like, oh, I know I'm about to get married. I'm 20. I'm talking to somebody. This is my husband. But you talked about the fruit, Shauna, and
Yeah.
those that I were meeting, even though I'm like, oh Lord, this must be your will. No, because the fruit don't line up with
Exactly.
his fruit. This fruit is rotten. This fruit is revealing toxicity. Like this is not the fruit of the Lord. God don't want me here.
Yeah. It's like the
You
fig
know
tree that Jesus cursed.
exactly,
You
exactly.
good, but you ain't got no fruit.
Or your fruit rotten. Yeah, it's so
Okay.
so I had to learn, like, we if God is not going to give us anything that is going to take us away from him, that is going to cause havoc in
Mhm.
our lives, that is going to cause turmoil. No, that is not his will. So I had to learn that. The clock was so loud. Now I'm like 25 and I'm like, okay, God, I desire marriage. I'm not even thinking about these other the shortcomings that I'm I'm my focus is marriage, and it's a strong desire, and I'm getting a little frustrated because I'm like, Lord, now
I have
I
a
just
question with that.
yeah.
Because I was the same way. Like I think you noticed, like me growing, I always had a boyfriend.
Hmm.
I'm always bringing somebody to family events. You done probably met all of them, okay? My high school sweetheart, 7 years after that, I'm getting married. It's a mess. I'm always with somebody. But I think at some point, because I desired that marriage so bad, I started to idolize it. And I think in another way, That's why, yeah, that's why I was not paying attention. That's why I was ignoring those red flags. That's why I feel like God was like, all right, girl, we need to take you back. You need to really learn yourself and who I am before you, so you don't idolize that. So at any point, did you ever feel like you started to idolize a marriage?
That's what I was doing the whole time. Yes, it was an idol.
Yeah.
It was an idol. If that's all I thought about. I was upset with the Lord because I'm like, well, I should be married by now, and I was doing things my way.
Hmm.
I was moving the way I thought I should. And when I say that, I mean, I would meet somebody and I don't know, I would just be so anxious. Like I would be so anxious for it to work
Hmm.
that I just I didn't acknowledge the Lord. You know what I mean? And so it yeah, yeah. So it was an idol for sure. It was definitely an idol. And when COVID happened, I said I would never do online nothing. When COVID happened,
Everybody was online, girl.
I was online.
Hmm.
I was on those dating sites and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna meet my husband here, and the Lord. Now, do you hear this? So it's
Yeah.
2020. I gave my life to Christ in what 2000 and
So
was it
how long
2000?
have you been single? You've been single for that full time?
Dated.
Hmm.
I dated. So I was talking to somebody. So from the age of 20 to like 21
Hmm.
and a half, I talked to somebody at the church I was at, and everybody was saying he was my husband. That's another thing you got to be careful with.
No, for
Everybody's like,
real. That's
this
yeah.
is your husband. And I'm like, but he wasn't lining it it, it wasn't right. But the pastors and everybody was saying it. But he no. But I was with him for about a year and a half off and on because he was very I know people use this word a lot, but he definitely was a narcissist. Okay.
I know, but it seems like it's so common,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, he was that. But I held on for even though we wasn't together, after the age of like 21, 22, I think, um, I held on to it because everybody was saying that was my husband. And I had prayed a prayer and I said the next man I meet, that was gonna be my husband. Just holding on to that. I wasn't open to receive, for anything else because in my mind, that was my husband. Even though it wasn't. So I finally let that go, and then the Lord put it on my heart to write a book. So I wrote a devotional.
Yes. I
It's a
have
devotion.
to grab it.
Go
I'm
get it, girl.
okay. So
Yes.
tell us about your devotional.
Well, so again, during the journey, like I came to a place. Now I wrote this during COVID when I was finally getting to the place of just really trusting God in that area with my husband. And during that time of writing it, I'm like, ooh, a lot of conviction came because I'm like, wow, these are some areas where I need help. Like I need still like I've been living for Christ for all this time, but that was an area where, I just needed to surrender to God. Like I hadn't surrendered it to the Lord and I was finally surrendering it and I wrote it and it's a devotional and it's for anybody, honestly. Men have read it and been blessed by it. But my focus was the women and to encourage women while they wait uh to get to know who they are, to grow uh personally, spiritually, emotionally, just to grow and to get to know who they are and to enjoy the journey. I know we get so frustrated because we want companionship and we want to be loved. We want by the right person and all of that. But I promise when we get now we are human. We have a human side. So I
Hmm.
know that we have desires. But when we feed our human side more than our spiritual side, of course that'll be we'll be led by our flesh more, right? If we're feeding that the most. But one thing that I am still learning to do is to feed my spirit, like to feed my spirit with the things of God, like with His Word and with prayer and with even connecting with like-minded people. So while I was writing that, God was really doing a work within me, in my mind, in my heart. And I was enjoying the journey. Like I was traveling, I was just building relationships, and I was going to different when I finished the book, when it was released, I
Mhm.
was going to, different venues and things, and was able to encourage other women. And the feedback has been so great.
It's crazy because when I purchased your devotional, I was in a relationship and I was working on that's before we got married. So I think we were supposed to have a wedding, but yeah, that's another story. I always tell people I'm like, when I mention my ex husband, that's gonna be a whole nother episode. Wait to my
Yes.
book. But listen,
Yes. Yeah.
well, when I purchased it, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna support my cousin. But I never actually dived into it. And it's so crazy because even before I had asked you to be a part of the podcast and come on for this episode, I thought about it because I'm like, now I'm in my singleness. And it's like now I'm in a space where I am fully surrendering that desire to the
Yeah.
Lord. And I'm just like, this is the perfect time for me to dive into it because like I'm actually enjoying it. Like for me to have been like
Yes.
serial monogamous, like constantly in relationships. I'm like, I was telling my mom, I'm like, girl, this is the first time I got my own place with nobody in my space.
Yes.
Decorated how I wanted to. Don't know man know where I live. I'm just
I
like,
love that.
I'm
I
just, it's just me and my baby. We be vibing
Mhm.
cook for myself. I cook for my friends. Like I'm just like I don't have to worry about nobody else. And I'm like, this is the first time, and I am loving it. But then I still got that kind of fear, like, dang. So like, I do want a husband. I still have that desire, but it's just not idolized anymore. But
That's a good.
when he comes, am I gonna be able to? Because I'm like, I'm really enjoying my singleness. I'm like, I'm
That's
really liking it
awesome.
here. So
That's
I'm just like,
awesome.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna dive into it now because I'm like, this is the perfect time. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, I hope it blesses you. I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it will.
And I love where you are. I love where
Yeah.
you are. And it's a beautiful place to be. It really is. And especially when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm growing. I'm really enjoying life. And
Hmm.
it's okay. Singleness, man, it's hard sometimes, especially when you have desires, especially if you've been sexually active, it's like, Lord,
That's
help me,
true. But
you know?
I will say to that, because I made a choice to abstain and I was
Uh-huh.
very intentional about it, where like there's no self gratification, nothing. And I'm coming up on almost a year now. But I feel like those desires I don't really have them no more.
That's
Like they're
awesome.
not there no more. It's just like I actually like when I made the conscious decision to do it, I told myself I'm not gonna do nothing. And I also fasted from it. So I took some time to fast and pray on it. Cause I was like, I do not want this to ever be a distraction in my life. So I'm like, but after that, I felt so free. I was like, I don't even. I think the only time my body, during ovulation, but I'm like, that's hormonal.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care no more. But
Bro, that's a testimony. That's a testimony. No, it's a testimony. Do you know how many women I talk to that are like, I'm having a hard time. Like
yeah,
it's hard. But what you said, you surrender. And that's what has to happen. And like to really, it's a fight, but to really make up in your mind. And for you not to have a desire, that's the Holy Ghost. Like
yeah,
you've allowed.
never. Because I'm like, there's moments, but it doesn't bother me like it used to. It's like,
Right.
I'm
You don't yield to it. It's
I don't.
you're able to you have self-control in
I do.
that area. And that's awesome.
But I pray for
That's
that too. So it's like you said, be careful what you pray for. Because last year I actually asked God to help me develop my fruits. Because I'm like, when people want them to see you, so I'm like, wherever I was like, search me, and wherever I'm lacking, please help me develop it. Now I done went through some things, y'all. So be
it.
careful what you
That-
pray for. But I do. I'm starting to feel it now. And I'm starting to see that everything that I went through was to help me develop those things. So I spent the whole year developing fruits, y'all. So it ain't easy. It ain't easy, but it's worth it. And
And it's doable.
it is
It's
doable.
do it takes discipline.
Yes. So it's 100% worth it. But I know that is a factor for sure. Like, especially having that desire, you want your husband. Of course, like, my main purpose, that's another thing. Like, when I
Mhm.
switch my mindset, it's no longer about me and what I want. It's about, when I do get married, I want us to advance God's kingdom. That is the purpose.
Yeah.
I just have a totally different headspace when it comes to that. I'm just like, it's about
Yeah.
kingdom. It's not just about me, it's about being a servant. It's about so many other things. So I truly just had to release those pressures that I was feeling, like
Yeah.
putting on myself essentially.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's I love where you are. That's a blessing. You got a testimony. You got so many testimonies, and I'm
That's
just
why I can
loving.
this book.
I'm loving what God is doing in your life. Like it touches my heart. I'm so just honored to just be able to just know you. So I'm
Oh, so sweet.
yes, and I'm so happy that you're allowing him to have his way in life. So
Thank you, girl. I
yeah.
really appreciate you. But all right, so you wrote this devotional during COVID, and around this time, you feel like it was convicting you. You're still on dating sites, right? And you're
A little bit.
so you're still having this desire for marriage. So where does it go from here? After writing a devotional, what was next?
So after writing the devotional, I was out and about, telling people about the devotional. I was going to different events and vending and things like that. So that had a lot of my time, and I was able to like minister at different events as well, and just encourage folks. And during that time, I'm like, no dating, no nothing. Let me just focus on the Lord. And then every now and then, I will go on the dating site just to talk or whatever. My friend one day was like, I want to meet somebody naturally. And I'm like, girl, you should try the dating site. But one day I had that same feeling like I want to meet someone like the traditional way. Just come up to me and ask me how I'm doing and you want my number, I said, yeah, that I said those dating sites they're not for me. You got a lot of trolls and just people aren't real. Some are. I know some success
Yeah,
stories, but
part of
um
you.
yeah. So I it was the year, what year was it? It was 2023. Now I hadn't really talked to anybody. Now I was like if I felt like I met somebody who um we were on the same page, I would go out on a date. And then when I found that we weren't compatible, I cut it off. So that's how I started moving instead of allowing, relationships to last longer than what they
Yeah.
should. So 2023, I was at work and I was minding my business and a delivery guy came in. He delivered some things to the organization and we chatted for a little bit. It was Memorial Day weekend and he was like, "Oh, what you doing for the weekend?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be with my mom." So he left. And in my mind, I'm like, he didn't even ask for my number.
Uh,
Oh, so he left, and about 5 minutes later, he at the door. Our doors are locked, so I had to go to the door. I'm like, what did he want? So I went to the door, and he was like, "I'm interested in getting to know." Oh, I prayed for him. I prayed for him. I forgot that part. When he left, I'm telling you, when we had that small conversation, all we talked about was Memorial Day,
okay.
like what we were doing for the weekend. But it was very strong on my heart to pray for him. So I just asked God to cover him on his route, to protect his mind, to protect his heart. And 5 minutes later, he comes back and he was like, I was trying to leave. And he was like, I was pulling out the parking lot and something told me to just come back. He said, and I was like, no, I ain't coming back. But he was like, I had to come back. And he said, yeah, he was like, I'm interested in getting to know you. And I'm like, "Hmm." And so from there, like even in that day, he told me I was his wife.
Mm,
Now I've heard that before.
yeah.
And I knew right away, like, boy, you're not mine, not him, but from other people, like, you're my wife. No, I'm not. You don't even know me.
No, I'm not.
But, but when he said it, because my heart was so guarded, I'm like, I'm not about to receive that,
Hmm.
because I don't even know you. But I went back inside my job, and my friend was like, you never know. This might be you.
Yeah.
And I was like, mm-hmm. So, anyways, we got married, and I know we got married a few months later, January of 24, we got married. So we've been married a year and a half now. So it's all of that to say I waited for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, but God is faithful and he knows what we need and he knows what we need. He
Hmm.
knows what we need.
Heavy on that.
Okay?
We need.
Heavy on the need, girl.
Yes.
So but I waited and God is so good. I mean, nothing is perfect,
Yeah.
but I'm always learning and I'm growing. The clock was definitely loud and I felt like God was silent. But during that time, God was making me, he was molding me. He didn't want marriage to be an idol in my life. Because if I would have got married and marriage was an idol, I wouldn't have honored God in my marriage. You know what I mean? I would have been wanting to please the man more than God. But where I'm at now, my focus is still, Lord, I want to please you. I want to please my husband too. But
Yeah.
I have to understand that God created him, so I have to go to God about everything still. And I have to honor God still. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. I do. Okay. I love it so much. And I do want to take it. Okay. I do got one question. I want to take it back just a little bit
Okay.
because, like you said, you waited for a long time. And I know there's people who they're waiting too. And waiting is hard no matter what you wait for. It is
Yes.
hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just want to know, like, during your waiting period up until like you met your husband, was there any times that maybe like you felt like, okay, I need to take a break from social media because of what you're seeing, or have you felt any pressures from family or friends around you, or seeing other people? Like, did that ever make you feel discouraged, or ever made you feel even more pressure during your waiting season?
Seeing other people get married and all of that.
Yeah, like
That's
or like that, yes, that or even like maybe I don't know if you have friends or family commented on it, like, "Dang, you still single?" Because I'm like, I know people like go through that.
honey.
Did you experience that, and like, how did you handle that?
Every day. Let me tell you now, I have an older friend. Like she's like my mom, but she like a godmother. How old is she? I think she just turned 82. But we talk, we we hang out. And I remember one time she said to me, she said, your clock is ticking. You better hurry up because you ain't gonna be able to have no babies and all. And I was like, I said, it's gonna happen when it's supposed to.
That
But
part.
that really made me feel away. And that discouraged me for a second. I knew I was going to get married. I
Mhm.
didn't know to who, I didn't know when. But when she made that comment, I was like, why would she say that?
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand how much their words um, can affect a person negatively, even though that was, she's so, blunt and honest and all of that. But that wasn't, that didn't line up with what I believe. Like I believe God. And yeah, the wait time I've waited, but I'm thankful for the wait. And yeah, so to answer your question, a lot people would always, and I remember hearing somebody say, what, you not having sex, ain't nobody gonna marry you if you're not having sex. They want it, they want to test. I said, oh well, they ain't testing this. And I thank God that my husband understood where I was and he had no problem waiting. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that. Like, but I knew my husband wouldn't have a problem. I said, if he's for me, he's going to wait. He's going to understand.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
that. And that's where I am now because I sure used to be a test drive person.
Mhm.
Think I'm gonna marry somebody and I gotta spend a rest of my life with them. Now, what if it's bad? Like, what I'm gonna do?
Mhm.
Yeah, Lord, you sure this the one? Can I just?
Right.
So I used to be that type of person, but now, like with the new mindset that I have, it's just like, yeah, you don't need to, and it's like, oh well, like, and I do feel the same way. Like when my husband come, he not gonna care about that. That's
Mhm.
gonna be the far. We gotta get to know each other. We're gonna have some fun.
Yes.
That is gonna be the farthest thing. Like that is not as important as people try to make it
Yes.
to be. So it's like.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. What about
Yep.
social media? Like, did you see other people like in relationships and getting married in social media? And that was just like, dang.
Yep. I sure was like, dang. And I ain't gonna even lie. To be honest, if I be real transparent, there
Mhm.
were some people getting married, and I'm like, now, how they get married? And I've been waiting and I've been faithful. But you know what that was though? That was a an entitlement spirit, like me feeling entitled. That was pride. Like God was showing me like just because you living for me and you're being faithful, you can't look down on somebody who's not where you are. Like that don't even like that's prideful. That's self-righteous. That's it was so many things. Like I said, God had been revealing some stuff about me to me. Like this is stuff in your heart that you need to get out. Cause that's not a healthy way to think. And but I didn't realize it. I thought I was justified. I thought it was justified. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I do.
what?
I've been
So
there. I got you. I feel you. Like I've definitely been there before, and I think now, like when I see people, I'm genuinely happy for people. Like
yeah.
their story may not be my story, but I'd be so happy. And I have this thing now where I be like, Lord, I see what you do for others. So whenever you're ready, like I see what
Okay.
you do for others,
Yes.
because that means it can
Yes.
happen for me. So
Yeah.
there's no longer that I've been doing right because God doesn't owe us anything. Don't owe us a thing.
Does it?
He gave us the greatest gift already, so it's like that's it. Like anything else is just favor and out of the kindness, extra kindness
That's it.
of his heart. So
That's it.
I love that, and I love
Yeah.
you being transparent about that.
Yeah. No, I had some difficult moments, difficult seasons, nights where I cried. It was an idol. Like that desire was so I'm like, Lord, why was that desire so big? Like why was it so major for me? And I feel like I want to say too that like I'm married and I thank God that I'm married and it's a blessing. At the same time too, it's like God will give us something and we got to make sure we're ready for it too, if that makes sense.
What you mean ready? I think another friend and I was talking about this because I'm like, what? No one is ever truly ready, like never 100%. But like we were even talking about how people are like, oh, I want to be ready for my spouse, I want to be ready for my husband or wife. And there's of course work you have to do within yourself before they come. But like there's nobody in the Bible that was like, oh, I got to get ready. They literally was just serving in their purpose, minding their business, and then here it goes. So it's just, what do you mean by ready?
What I mean when I say ready is there is you want to make sure that you're in a good place mentally. You know what I mean? And because there are some things, first of all, marriage is not gonna fix anything.
It amplifies
Um,
it, if
it
anything.
amplifies it, right? So when I'm speaking, when I say ready, I mean just ready for the assignment, ready for the assignment, ready for the responsibility, ready for um just getting with your partner and working through stuff. Like ready because we make the commitment, and there shouldn't be a okay, I make this commitment, but I don't like this, so be ready to be in it for forever. Praying that the decision was the right one. That's what I mean when I say that. So just ready to work through, ready to humble yourself, ready to um admit that's humbling yourself, admit when you're wrong or making changes within yourself that you need to make. One thing that I am working on is my mental health. Like I overthink that I've gotten so much better, but just with with overthinking and um that's something that it causes problems in the relationship. So it's like, okay, God, I really need to trust. Here's another thing that I need to surrender to God. Like I don't have all the answers. I be trying to figure stuff out, and I shouldn't be doing that. I should allow God to do what He does. And so that's something that that I'm working on is allowing God to have control in the marriage. Like, Lord, you have control. I'm like, Lord, I prayed about some things. But
Yeah,
it's about trusting Him and having faith and allowing Him to be God. And
yeah.
so,
And I like that because it's like you're reminding people that even when that wait is over and you get what you desired, it's like, okay, but there's still work to be done. Like, make sure that
Yes.
you're ready for that work. And I like that you said as well, make sure you're ready to put in the work to like fight. Cause I do feel like, especially in marriage, it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence on both partners
It
to be able
does.
to get through a lot of things and
It
just,
does.
like you said, keeping Christ in the center of it because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
It's beautiful. You know what I love? What I love about it is I love when me and my husband, his name is Brad, when me and my husband when me and my husband we come together and we can talk through whatever it is we've been had a disagreement about, but we can come together and discuss it. I love that. I love that. And I love that I can talk to him about any and everything. And I love that I can come home and we can watch a good movie and lay up and do those things. And that's the beauty of it, having that companionship, praying together, building together. But then you got the other part where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we gotta we gotta humble ourselves and we have to make adjustments. So yeah,
Yes. Thank you
it's
so much for sharing that. Like that is amazing. And I do think like it is so beautiful, especially that companionship. It's almost like you got a life partner, somebody to
yeah,
do life with, you
yeah.
know. And that may not be everybody's desire or may not even be in
No,
everybody's will, but I
yeah,
know if you have that desire, you get it. It's just like, ooh,
I know, right?
it's like, oh, I got my person. It's like, oh, we could do this together. We could do. It is a
Yeah,
very beautiful thing. But like you said, you just have to be ready for
yeah.
everything that comes with that commitment.
Yeah.
Um, so, what would you say to the waiters right now, whether they're waiting on their spouses or they're waiting on God to answer a question or to fulfill a desire? Like, what would you say to them to encourage them during this time?
So you're waiting on God. One thing about God is there is a perfect time for everything. And when we're waiting, when we're focused on the thing that we want, I feel like we make mistakes or we make rash decisions and things like that. So one thing I would say is don't make a decision, rash decision, and because you'll have regrets, right? And you don't want that. You want to make an informed decision and you want to know that God is always with you. The scriptures, everybody don't read the Bible, but that Bible, there's some scriptures you can search online and ask God to give you some scriptures on waiting or encouragement or, because you want to be in God's will. Like you want to be. There's no place like the will of the Lord. And so, for those who are waiting for anything, for finances, for a husband, for a job, God is so good. He always speaks to us. And if He's not saying nothing, don't do nothing. If He is not saying nothing,
That's good. That's
don't
good right
do
there.
nothing. Just continue to wait and trust Him because He is faithful. He will never leave us. He won't forsake us. He won't lead us wrong. He will not lead us wrong. He will not lead us wrong. So if He's not saying anything, don't do anything. He always gives confirmation. Always. Look, for if you praying for something and you haven't heard anything, don't make a move. Don't make a move. And while you're waiting, just find yourself doing things um, that encourages you, that makes you happy. If it's looking up recipes, do that. If it's going by the water, going to the lake, to the beach, do that. If
Yeah.
it's, like do things that bring you joy, and make sure like you spend that time with the Lord daily. That is important. That is strength. That you get strength in His presence. So I don't care if it's 5 minutes and to make it an intentional 5 minutes.
And
So
I love, girl, that's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. I love that because, yeah, we don't want to jump because we do 99.9% of the time regret that. And I like that you spoke about finding things that you enjoy during your waiting season. Like find things that you want to do. And I feel like people should get used to dating themselves. Like I know that
Absolutely.
I mean, I would love to go on a date, but if I ain't got no man, you're not gonna take me on a date. I'm gonna take myself. Like I love taking
Yes.
myself to the movies. I take myself
Yes.
to eat. Like I love
Hmm.
spending time with me, and definitely having that intentionality with spending time with the Lord. So I love that.
That's
And
awesome.
there are several scriptures on waiting that God speaks
Hmm.
about, and um, just what we can do in those times. And I do have one that I actually want to share. Um, it's from Psalm. So it's Psalm 27 and 14.
Hmm.
It says, wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. So I love that because, like you said, spending time with God,
Yes.
that's where your strength comes from because it does. Like
Mhm.
our spirit man gets stronger. It increases our
It
faith,
does.
gives us discernment, so many things. So spending time with
Mhm.
him and waiting on him is important. So thank you so much for that encouraging word, your words of wisdom. You are
Yes.
amazing and I love
Thank you.
you.
I love you too.
Yeah.
Is it okay for me to sing this? There's a song that I wrote and it's called Delight. And my husband actually said, "Hey, you should." He's like, "You should sing this a little bit of the
Girl,
song."
come on. So y'all, when we have any family event, if somebody's singing, it's gonna be Diane. One day we gonna sing together, but you don't be shy. I still
Yes.
be shy. I'm still praying on that. I'm praying on that shyness to go away. But
Yeah.
yeah, girl, sing your song delight. You wrote, when did you write it?
Oh, it probably in like 2008 or 9. So it's been a yeah.
Girl,
Yeah.
we need to get you in the studio so you can.
Honey. My husband is supposed to be working on that.
So come on.
Okay.
Look,
Okay,
okay,
so
let's
just
hear
a
it.
little bit of it. Because we want to delight in God, right? Or we want Him to delight in us, and delight in my worship, delight in my praise, God, yeah, delight in my worship, Lord. I come to give you praise. You're everything I need, and you're everything I am. How I need you in my life. So I'm asking you to delight. So I need you in my life. So I'm asking you to delight.
Girl, that's it. I like that.
That's all I'm gonna do for
Girl, you
but
need to record that so I can add it to my worship playlist.
oh, you so sweet. I will. No, that's something that I did write a little bit more to it recently. So
Girl, beautiful. I love
thank
that.
you.
We
Thank
need
you.
to get you on a track. Get you on a track, girl. When you gonna release this gospel album?
No, I don't know about that. But we'll
Let's
see.
do
We'll
it.
see. We'll see. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I'm gonna want to hear more. So if
Okay.
you get a text like, "All right, did you record it yet?" Or you're gonna have to send it to me in voice memo. And I'll tweak it a little bit so it can be more clear, like it's studio, and then I'm gonna add
Okay.
it to my playlist. We gotta figure
We
something out.
will.
But
Okay.
yes, thank you for sharing that. That was so
Absolutely.
beautiful, girl. And thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I really appreciate you.
I enjoy being here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I always enjoy talking to you. Like the times that we get to see each other,
Same.
like touch base. I love talking to you.
Same.
Thank you again. All right, y'all. This is it for this episode. I will see y'all next episode. Until then, stay rooted, stay real, and stay close to Him. Bye, y'all.